Moving on to this, Iran is trying to cash in on the chaos it's created in the Strait of Hormuz, with Tehran reportedly floating a new deal to reopen the key trade route and end the conflict, but only if the U.S. ends its blockade and delays nuclear talks. A move that would essentially strip away all the president's leverage in future talks around Iran's enriched uranium program. And the dealmaker-in-chief, he ain't playing ball, canceling peace talks over the weekend while the U.S. Navy moves in to clear the Strait of mines completely and keep maximum pressure on Tehran. Secretary of State Marco Rubio warning that the regime can't be trusted.
The Straits is basically the equivalent of an economic nuclear weapon that they're trying to use against the world. And they're bragging about it. They're putting up billboards in Tehran bragging about how they can hold 25% or 20% of the world's energy hostage. Imagine if those same people had access to a nuclear weapon. They would hold the whole region hostage.
Joining us now is Israeli Special Operations veteran and Gideon founder Aaron Cohen. Aaron, very good to see you tonight. All right, let's start with this quote-unquote deal that Iran sent over to open the Strait. It sounds like it is miles away from what President Trump expects and is asking for. Does it indicate we're further from a deal than ever before, or are we getting closer?
Well, it's good to be on with you, but I think here's where I'm at with this. Right now, what you're watching is not and will never be diplomacy with the mullahs. These are more delayed tactics. And Iran is doing exactly what they've always done under pressure. We've been seeing this now for the last 2 months, which is stall, posture, and then try and buy more time. And so I believe that they're floating proposals and they're sending envoys and they're talking about talks, but none of this is about a real deal. Here's what it's about. This is about survival, because right now they are in the weakest strategic position they have been in 47 years. Their leadership's been hit, their economy is under massive pressure, and their military capabilities are basically zero. And their proxy network is being completely smashed as well. And so this isn't really a negotiation for me. It's certainly not coming from strength. I think the regime is trying to slow the clock.
So here's the move they've been making. They've been saying we're divided. We don't have unified leadership. It's very hard for us to come up with anything in this situation. Aaron, my view on that is not our problem. Don't care, and we're not going to wait around for you to figure out who's in charge. But it does seem like that is one of the reasons why we're willing to take the phone calls and we're maybe willing to send people to Islamabad. Should we care? Does it matter that they don't have unified leadership? Not our problem.
Not our problem. Absolutely not our problem. But I'll tell you what matters here, in my opinion. I think that Trump's continued strategy of economic warfare, which is really what this is hurting them in such a way that it's actually changing the game right now. Trump's strategy, he's never going to pursue a weak deal. He was just shot at over the weekend. President Trump is pissed. He does not back down, and he's going to continue to do what's working, which is apply this maximum pressure. Right now, the oil revenue is completely cut off. There's global compliance that's coming into the picture now as well. And the blockade is now getting expanded, if I'm not mistaken, beyond the region. So this is about strangling the regime economically. Trump's keeping his finger on the pulse, on that, keeping that blood hemorrhaging. And that's exactly what you're seeing. That's why Iran is rushing into these talks, because that pressure is working.
So here's my only problem, Aaron. My only problem, I agree with all that. And I think the blockade is masterful. It's strangling them. My only problem is the rest of the world's also not getting what it wants to get out of the Strait of Hormuz. And it's maybe not killing the U.S. leverage, but it is diminishing our leverage when oil stays above $90 a barrel. Can we get to a point soon where Iran can't move anything and the rest of the world can move whatever it wants? That, to me, is the blockade that would work. Is that even possible?
Yeah, of course it's possible. It's just a question of time right now. You got the Fifth Fleet. Look, Iran is using this every time. But I want to be clear about the Strait of Hormuz. To all the money people who are listening on FBN, this is fear theater. The Persians, the mullahs, do not control the strait. Stop listening. Stay away from the algorithms. It's not true. It's nonsense. They can disrupt shipping a little bit, but I'm talking about jet skis and bullhorns here. You're not going to compete with the U.S. military. They're boarding ships. They're stopping oil freighters. Anybody connected to the IRGC is completely in control of the U.S. Navy. And more importantly, the mullahs cannot personally sustain this shutdown. That's what people need to understand in the macro picture. Iran tries to close the Hormuz, the Strait of Hormuz. They're not going to be able to sustain it. Yeah. So the pressure tactic is going to bleed them to the point where they're just going to have to roll over. Give it a few more weeks. Watch. When the lights turn out and they can't buy bread, it's game over. Yeah. The people will turn. You'll see.
Now, look, no argument with that. I'm one of those FBN money guys. I don't pay attention to algorithms. Right now, I'm just counting ships, like literally yes. How many ships, correct. Okay? And I just want to count, when I'm counting like 75, 80, maybe 100 ships, Aaron, I think you've got them right where you want them, but I'm not counting that many ships quite yet. Last thought.
Give it a minute. Give it a minute. All of this is going to play. Listen, you cannot stop the economic stranglehold. Let the mullahs burn out. The lights are going to turn off. They're going to have no cash left. Like my good friend Kudlow says, it's going to be game over. So give it a minute and let's watch this thing play out. There's no up for them to go. It's only to complete broke. Watch.
I agree with you. Larry Kudlow is a good friend of mine, too. I appreciate that. Aaron Cohen, always good to see you. Thanks for being with us.
Appreciate you. Thank you.